just draw some roses on a pretty piece of paper with my recipe long pencil. Halfway through, I feel so much better.
I'm Holly K, and these are my video diaries. Now we're at, let me see. We're at the 18-day countdown, actually, for Rip the Runway. So, if you see me, like, looking off over here into the distance, it's because, like, I can see everything that I need to do, but you guys can't see what I need to do. So, and if I showed you, then it would give everything away. But I'm looking at everything that I need to do and thinking thoughts about things when I look at them. But we got 18 days. I still have a lot to do. I've got about 6. I've got about 6 pieces out of 10 done. I got to have 10 done for the show, so we got about 4 more dresses to go. But I'm not really worried. I'm gonna get it done. It's moving along. Everything is awesome. So I guess I'll just have to keep you posted on the progress of things. But Aries, which is what I am, you know, we usually work best under pressure. So I think it's gonna be all good. Today is October 2nd, which is mind-blowing. It is 12 days until Rip the Runway, which is a little scary. So, you know, the other day I was brushing my shoulders off and everything, and feeling real bored. But I don't know. Today, you know, the pressure is kind of on. So I have a lot to do, and a lot to do. Trying to figure out where to begin. Got a few little, I don't even want to call them dilemmas necessarily, but maybe just a few minor glitches or things that could, you know, just, you know, maybe plant the seed of concern, just the seed. You know, we're not really, you know, we're not going to panic. We're not going to reach a state of panic. We're going to, you know, keep it cool because that's how we roll. Yeah, just trying to work around some of those things, trying to work around life happenings, all kinds of stuff. So Saturday was the fittings for Rip the Runway with all the models and everything like that. I had to go out of town actually to check on my dad who's in the hospital, so I missed the fittings, which was kind of just as well because we weren't completely ready to fit, at least not everything anyway. So they're still doing fittings this week, so we're gonna get in where we can fit in this week and work through you know, that little obstacle. But you know, shoot, life happens, so you kind of gotta juggle all of these things at the same time. Who am I? Because I know that everybody out there doesn't know who Holly K is. You know, just maybe kind of in my little community bubble, or here in Denver some people know, but everybody doesn't know. So when I needed to answer that question, I just was like really stumped. It probably shouldn't have been that difficult to answer a question about who you are. It's easy, I guess, to answer the question, you know, what do you do? For those people that don't know, I am artist, curator, community organizer, event planner, I guess. Honestly, you know who I am? I am a person that hates titles. I hate titles. So the only title that I ever go by really is artist. That's it. I work in a few different mediums. I do work in graphics, do some graphic design for people. I do also work in photography. Photography was like my first, that's not true. I always want to call it kind of my first love, but it really wasn't my first love. It was my first official business that was licensed and everything like that. But, you know, the fashion goes back to like way, way, way back, like elementary school back. And that was my other job. But anyway, so just answering that question, but I hate titles, and the only title that I ever really subscribe to is artist. And the reason I subscribe to that title is just because all my life, like I've always, you know, worked in a few different things at one time. There's never been one art form that I studied exclusively. And, you know, aside from that, I kind of look at everything as my canvas. If I'm putting together an event, you know, the composition process is still the same for me as it would be if I'm putting together a photograph, and the composition process involved there, and just the creative process and all that. So I like to look at everything as my canvas. You know, events are my canvas, you know, painting, the canvas is my canvas, fabric is my canvas, sometimes pen and paper is my canvas. Like, it just varies. The only other idea I guess that I really subscribe to in terms of being an artist or a creative person is that, you know, someone called me yesterday actually, and asked me a question about something they were working on or trying to put together. And she was saying that she was a little concerned about putting this, you know, bringing her idea to fruition, because she didn't want someone else to maybe take the idea before she was really able to benefit from it. And I think, you know, it's a valid concern, and I'm sure a concern among, you know, all artists probably think about that. But, you know, what I said to her was, and I guess all of these things kind of bring you back to answering that question of who am I, you know. But one thing that I said to her was just like, you know, you can be concerned about that, and there's always going to be people that are going to try to bite your, you know, your work, especially if it's good. But one thing that people cannot take from you or duplicate, no matter how hard they try, is, you know, the intention behind what you created, the motivation behind what you created, you know, and everything else that is kind of intangible that you put into whatever it is that you created, you know, whether that's love, whether that's, you know, inspiration, whatever. You know, people don't have one person's interpretation of what they saw you do is probably going to be different, and probably not going to be as good or as solid as whatever it was that you created, assuming that you really took the time and energy to put into it. So, you know, and the other thing that, you know, I kind of said to her was that, but I guess this is really more the school of thought that I subscribe to, which is that, you know, if you're an artist and you call yourself an artist, I feel like, you know, ideas are gifts. You know, we are gifted those from a higher power, from a greater source, you know, like, of course, in a way, you know, we thought of them, but at the same time, there's another step before it becomes our thought, you know. And that when you receive those, and especially when they're powerful ones, you know, good ones that you feel strongly about and things like that, like, you have, I think what makes artists so special is that you are truly an executor. You take something from here and you put it here. You know, you bring things, you are truly bringing things to life. You are, in fact, giving birth to ideas and projects, and that when you are an artist, that you have like a certain obligation to do that. You know, you have an obligation to honor that idea that was gifted to you, and then to bring it to life, you know, and you can't really worry about the rest, you know, otherwise things will just be trapped up in your head, and you're kind of like an idea/art hoarder if you're not bringing them to fruition, and if you're not sharing them with the rest of the world. The other thing that I would say to that is that, you know, I think art has a certain job. You know, it is supposed to do certain things, you know, when it is experienced by the viewer or whoever is, you know, looking at it, wearing it, you know, whatever the case may be. But I think that it has a certain, you know, its job is to inspire on many levels, you know, large or small. The art should inspire you to, it should encourage movement, whether that is movement of thought, movement in terms of like action, actually inspiring someone to get up and do something, make something, create something, whatever, feel something, express something, some sort of movement. And after that, you know, I think it did what it was supposed to do, and so did you, like, as the creator. And I think that when you honor that process, you know, that you're more fulfilled as an artist, at least I am. I guess I can't speak for everybody else. And that you are, and everyone else is also fulfilled, you know, in some way. You know, you received and you gave, you know, and, you know, art is like the gift that really just will keep on giving, you know, depending on who sees it, how many people see it, when they see it, you know, all of that. So I guess that's one way of answering sort of the who am I question.
When I'm down, I just draw some roses on a pretty piece of paper with my recipe alone.